Hey you guys, it is Sunday, March 4th, and I'm gonna do a longer walk around just to document the garden because it is spring and it is a really nice time of year. It's a little bit overcast, but things have been really busy the last few days, especially on the sunny days, bees and plants and everything. So a cool thing, the grass clippings are starting to come in, so this is a really great stuff, and I only grabbed a few, but I could have filled up the whole bed. And I'm going to be planting some sugarcane today. These are two new varieties that I got from a friend, and yeah, the green is probably a lot of people are familiar with, but this one is a skinnier stemmed purple, so it's fairly ornamental, but we juiced some of it and it was really good. And then there's an Anisacanthus, little hummingbird bush, and it's going in the ground somewhere, so we shall see. And here it is, here's the tour. So we've got some plums over here that are blooming out at different times. I stuck a bud on one. Methyl and Bruce are those two plums. The citrus is about to explode with fragrant blossoms. I went ahead and did some more protecting for that comfrey to help it come back. The chickens have kind of been disturbing through this whole area, and that's the big thing this year, is figuring out what can survive the chicken pressure. I have not planted these out yet. I'm waiting on the peppers because it might get cold next week, but here's some squash that's coming up. So it'll be squash and peppers and probably some herbs or other random things. So you saw roses are blooming. There's some more squash back there in that pot. Irises look really good this time of year. About to get some blossoms on some of the fragrant roses. I'm excited for that. The apple tree did not set much fruit this year, so it's strong and it still might set some, but really weak bloom, and I think it's okay because it's still recovering from this rabbit damage from a year and a half ago, basically winter before last. So it's gotta come back, that Dorset right there. But there'll be a few fruit hiding out, but nothing like what it could be. But it's happy, and that's an important thing. Dewberries, we're gonna be seeing lots of dewberry blossoms. So early March, it's time for things to be going. This is full fruit on the Pakistan. As long as this coming up one doesn't nip it, this is just, cannot wait. So you see it all in there, all the way up. So really nice fruit set on the Pakistan mulberry. Sorry, planes, airports that way. A new flush of growth on all of the citrus, and I'm not protecting for this one, but I bought a bunch of pheromone traps for leaf miners, and I'm going to be setting those up probably in the next couple weeks for the next flush. So a lot of new citrus growth, a lot of blueberries. So a lot of good fruit set on blueberries and a lot of good fruit set on peaches. And what was really cool is, so this one bloomed early, got hit by the hard freeze. I don't have to thin it this year. This is a beautiful amount of fruit set. Like, you could not do better. Look at that, it's perfect. So most of the flowers got frozen. The really hard 19 was when this was in bloom, and then it flowered again afterwards. So basically it lost some of its momentum and put out a weaker second flowering, but they have a really nice spacing, and so I'm pretty stoked. And this tree, I mean, I don't know if you guys can see the colors. The colors are really nice this time of year, so that's strong. The ladder is there because I was just putting some stuff I got on the curb up on top, and figs coming back from the base, that LSU purple. I was a little worried about him. Over here, let's see, most of the figs, not most, a lot of the figs froze to the ground. So that's a nice gold fig coming back from the ground. Persimmon's coming out. This is a pumpkin mandarin coming out. I'm actually really excited to let all of the cleavers go to seed. The chickens enjoyed it so much. I actually made sure not to cover it because I'm going to take it once it goes to seed and spread it all over this area. So I've been opening up bags like crazy. Actually, it was right before the last big rain. I opened up a lot of bags. And that's, you can see the shift in the space. You see some nectarine blossoms. Jujubee's late to come out. You see down there, they're all coming back, flushing new growth. The pear tree is it's looking good. So Acres Homes probably should make some fruit this year. I saw the blossoms, so here's a pear blossom, but I didn't see like a real intense blossom. So it might be taking another year to get established. So the avocado, unfortunately, right around maybe here, it basically lost all of its trunks again. So this is like coming back from the ground, essentially. And that's disappointing, but it should be back with a good bit of momentum. And yeah, it'll be full size, I think, before too long. What else? What else? Oh, I popped out the mulberry trees that were in here. You can see the space changing. So this is an occupiable space. It's kind of low light. And that curbside treasure right there of that boxwood was just popped out. It's going to be trashed. Here are the mulberries I dug out. So beans, you can stick anything in the ground this time of year, but I have to protect these from the rabbits or they'll get eaten in about a week or so. So I have to make another cage. But I'm doing the same. Like there's a little tomato, and I'll show you the big tomatoes in a minute. Let's see, little dewberry hiding out. Really nice growth on this blood orange, you know, flower and a new flush. Sorry, I'm not holding the camera. So a new flush of growth. It's going to double in size mainly because of how much light it's getting on the backside back here. Look at the lean it had before. Now it's going to be like that way because all of that got cut. More blueberries setting fruit a little bit further behind. And the bee split, they actually, so it doesn't look very even, but this queen's laying and they are just fine. So both sides are gonna be good. They have eggs in them and everything. So that was a good split. And another plain. Here's more pear. This is pineapple pear. All right, over here with some avocado blossoms and some new growth. And check out this guy, looking good. So opal and lilac. Now this I was gonna plant early, but I saw this cold weather coming, so I'm gonna wait and plant it out with jicama. I have the transplants growing inside, and that's gonna be a nice, if I can protect them from the rabbits. Let's see, more dewberry. I planted this arbor this year with just Mexican gherkin, so Melothria scabra, and they're hiding out, so hide them from the rabbits and such. They're right here. This is how you got to do it. You got to sneak your plants in and let them be protected by everything else. So it doesn't take many of them too. Once they get up on top, there's another one there. They're about a foot and a half apart. So this is the most damage of any tree on the whole property as far as citrus goes. It's kind of sad and frustrating to have lost it that far, but I also know it could be back to full size before too long. It will probably be back as big as it was by this fall. It's got the roots to do it. So a nice nectarine here in the center. I think it's Panamint. This Carnival apple never took off. Oh, almost stepped on it. So this is the big moringa that fell over, and I piled leaves on top of the trunk. So I'm gonna have a lot of stalks coming up if we don't get frosted by this next one. And then this was really sad. So this goji, this one right here, was super big and full of fruit yesterday. So I was like, oh man, the rabbits are really eating on the goji. They had eaten every one over here. Well, they reached up and chewed it off. So that's the pressure here in this garden. There's a lot of rabbit pressure. There were even small goji right here. Yep, that was bigger. So here it's been chewed. Because goji berry kind of spreads like that. There's another. So the rabbits are a challenge. But they're also cool. So this is where your tomato plants should be size-wise by March by March 3rd. So getting far along. I bet you it's a cherry type. I don't really know. This is Falsa, Grewia Asiatica, coming back, and I'm gonna get some fruit this year. See all those flowers? So it's fruiting on new growth. That's a lemon drop pepper I just stuck in. None of the passion vine made it. I uncovered them too soon and they got frosted. So no passion vine. Really nice color. I wish the ladder wasn't here. It'd be beautiful. It's just a limey green. This is the awesome swing Miss Naomi gave, and I showed you guys that too already. I forgot. But yeah, things are coming back. There's Satsuma coming back. Too much fruit set on this emerald. Look at the clusters here. That's a little dense. We'll see if they finish out nice. But a lot of fruit. This was the other with some decent damage, but because it's got that central trunk still good, it should be back at least full size or more. But I'll do better on the protecting next year. Here's probably the strongest blueberry in the ground. I think it's palmetto, but good fruit set, and you know, it's got big roots for a blueberry, as in like they're still pretty shallow. All right, so here's Mars, and it was really sad to lose that back branch. It was like, it was gonna be the main trunk. It was really strong, and I think I actually lost it because of how hard I bent it over. So I like damaged the tissue, and then it froze. So that's sad, but it's gonna still put out a main trunk over there, because this branch doesn't have a good base structure. Ujikitsu is just flying, you know, that's gonna be double in size. The LSU Gold is coming out. So I spent a lot of time with the you know, tomatoes. They've got a cage. I'm pointing it at my face. So I'm spending a lot of time with the tomatoes, and you'll see I threw branches in there. I threw it in for a reason, because the dang rabbits eat everything. So I'm gonna come back and replant this because I got some really big ones in pots. And I'm just going to be more thorough with protecting it from rabbits, because that is disappointing. I got to get them established before it dries out. So I might get some nectarines this year. That'll be a first. So this tree, let me see what year. I planted it in January of 2016. We're in like essentially January 2018, so 2 years old. This thing just grew really, really fast. And I don't even remember what it is. So this is the Panamint, so which means I don't remember what the other one was, if this is Panamint. All right, whatever. I'm losing track of all these plants. We saw the bees over there. Whoa. The loquat fruit, it did hold, so it's got some nice flush over here, and there's lots of dewberries hiding out over here. So if you're not familiar, this is a blackberry rust that once it gets in, I probably won't have dewberries. You know, it's going to be a challenge. But there was, you know, the fruit set, some was damaged, but some is kind of holding and starting to swell. Like, see that starting to swell? So this tree could literally double this year. Maybe not literally. It'll get a lot bigger, and I'm excited for that. So lots of growth, just everything. Everything is good right now. We got water in the ground, and we got great temperatures, and we got things growing. This was another pretty sad as far as amount of damage. This was fantastic, and I thought it was going to be the strongest. But there's a good core there that it can come back from. All right. Lots of stuff happening. Good strong banana made it through winter. So this will be, I'll probably do some documenting separate video, but this is going to be a Three Sisters garden. I protected it from the chickens. Raul, I tried to use that awesome chicken pen, and I didn't have good enough soil for the stakes. So I went with the old school style chicken wire, but basically under this is all wood, and there's corn, and these are just some bush beans coming up. There's squash planted. It'll be a really interesting project to see how successful it could be. And then this is the fall one, where I definitely Need to do a better job eating lettuce. But, you know, this is what you can do with just stuff from the curb, and I didn't have to water this ever. You know, when you grow in the winter, it's just easy. It's just, everything grows itself. I'm not gonna be here long, so that's why the chickens are trapped inside. But I just gave them a bunch of cabbage and refilled all their waters, and they're definitely mad at me. If you can hear it, you feel like, let us out. Let's go see who's on the nest. So, Tindora's in here. And the other thing is, hey there, this is Phantom, and lots of eggs, because I did not collect eggs yesterday. And yeah, getting a lot of eggs, a dozen a day. So they've been just loving spring weather as well. So that's like 12 out of 15 birds, an egg a day. So this is fun. And yeah, we'll see ya. See you, Tindora. I'll come and collect those in a minute. Pear blossoms over here. We're gonna get a lot of, the Tennessee sets fruit really well, so that'll be productive. Here's more tomatoes how they should be, protected from rabbits. That's a big boy. And here's another big one. They do have tags somewhere down there, but I tried to mostly focus on cherry types. So here's the state of things. These were the potatoes. If you remember, do you remember the early planting? I did a video on potatoes, and I said, oh, I'm planting these really early, I'm gonna plant again. This is the early planting right here. So they're rocking, making potatoes underground. And then over here is the later planting. So this was planted around Valentine's Day. And so that's, you know, they have a huge head start, but at the same time, they might tank early, and last year it didn't matter, and these might keep going. So we won't know till harvest. Here's the peanut that was found in the bag of leaves from the curb, and this is unplanted. So maybe another tomato or a pepper. Peppers can go in the ground because they gotta wait till the fall anyway. Tomatoes, get them in, get them out. A lot like the potatoes. So here's my grafting stock. Haven't done it yet. I'll try to get to it soon. I was kind of waiting for see how it's flushing now. Now the bark will be slipping. And I'll graft some citrus. I've been feeding the fish some duckweed, so this is duckweed stock tanks. This is lotus though, that eventually I'll transfer to the big pond. Grow some lotus. The olives are good. I'm gonna plant the avocado later this week. That was another video I'm waiting to post. More blueberries and full of blossoms, and little bugs and things flying around. Tracking a bee. Y'all probably can't see it. Okay, so another boxwood that was trash pile treasure. Pretty cool plant. At least it holds some space. And then here's the other really nice peach tree. I think it's desert gold. That was Florida Prince. This is desert gold, and it's half desert gold, half May Pride. So I believe it's desert gold that has performed better in the last couple years. So here's some good fruit set, and maybe I come in and thin, but just really great color. I like the plants this time of year. Pixie mandarin with a good solid flush, and pardon the mess, but things are good. Look at that, grapefruit made it out strong. A lot of these things are just getting a little bit stronger every year. Pecan grafting to do. That guy will get grafted. Thinking about planting the banana fig there, but I also might just graft it onto one of my other figs because I'm running out of space pretty bad. Lemon, citrus, so look up. The pear is flushing really nice. The loquat, a lot of new growth. We can go back here, if you pardon the mess. I'm making some headway on some projects. I trimmed back the bananas. The avocado is flushing new growth, but it did get a good bit of damage. It's tough, right? This elderberry is the biggest single trunk ever, but I want to get some more light to that cashew. So that might be coming out. These are all the things I'm just sharing all the things I'm thinking on. This was the control for the freeze dam, so this is doing nothing, and a large citrus went all the way down to about 4 feet, and it'll be back as big as it was, no problem. This is a really nice wild mulberry. It's just a white mulberry, you know, birds planted, native. And if, in case you guys don't know, you should eat mulberry leaves. They're pretty good. Like as a lettuce substitute when they're young and tender like that, really good. So right here we've got satsuma. They'll set some fruit in the shade. Pecan that needs to be grafted. More mulberry. This is a wild red mulberry. It's you see a little bit smaller. Some bags of leaves to open. So I have this pile of leaves because I used it all to protect the star fruit, and I think it was worth it. It was a lot of energy, but we got new growth right there on a nice tall, much taller than how much it got damaged last year, and new growth on the cherimoya. So I don't think I'm ever really going to get fruit on the cherimoya. It's just here for novelty, just because, I mean, it flowered. I saw it one flower like right before the freeze, so it's just a timing thing. Same with the white sapote. I think I might be drifting away from some of these really hard tropicals, and just allowing the garden to be stuff that's a little more Garden of Eden, you know, less dependent on human control. That's kind of the plan. So fig is good. This is exciting. So this guy, so frozen. So I didn't cover him. He got damaged by like a 30-degree freeze way before the really hard freezes, and then I essentially just buried him in leaves for the entire winter. So it was good feedback for duration of being covered with leaves. He was covered with leaves for a solid 2 months, and so I uncovered him just a bit ago, and all of that bark is still good. So I think if your leaves are dry and thick, you can get away with it. Let's see. I ripped out that avocado. These are the first citrus blossoms, and this is from one that was pretty well covered, so it warmed up earlier. But this is honey mandarin, and I could thin it because it's only second year in the ground, or I will thin it for sure, but I might not thin it completely. I might leave a few on. It's a good fruit there. Murcott honey. Exciting that this sweet orange has that good central leader now, because this is going to be a big tree, and excited for that. Gonna hack on this pecan, and that'll give it more light for the year. And I have some tough decisions as far as the 2 oaks with the pink tape. Might be phasing them out. There's more blueberry blossoms finishing. My compost was really bad for jujube, so that's good feedback. You know, grow this tree in field soil. It doesn't even need the compost didn't help. I think essentially it was maybe some poor planting on my part, allowing some compost to get mixed in the planting hole, but it just lost some root structures. That's what this is for. And I came by and I was like, after a wet day, and it has good roots on its side to side, even though it's wiggling a lot, but it just doesn't have anything if it leans that way. Anyway, rambling. So there's Suriname cherry coming back fine after being buried in leaves. Here's cocktail grapefruit. And a lot of these I'm seeing as just temporary. So this has got a big boost from the water tank, but as this loquat gets bigger, I might have to, you know, just graft it onto that Republic of Texas or something like that, and just move things around. Always moving things around. Here is the white sapote, much better than last year. So last year's freeze, it was so slow to come back. It was more severely damaged. It probably was like 2 or 3 weeks after the hard freeze, and it was already pushing bud. Like, it was a little bit warm and ready to go. So it doesn't have any good structure, not as valuable as it was, but we'll see. And I did have flowers on it too. I didn't take pictures of them, but it was right before the hard freeze essentially. So blooming again, December, January bloom. It's pretty hard. We have to have a really mild winter to get fruit, so not necessarily worth it. But everything else, here we got These guys need some trellising, but you see the pot system? They're gonna run up the oak. That's yard-long beans. So, some red asparagus beans, you might call them. This is pretty good for having the guava coming back this much. I'm excited to have it that far along. I slipped a bud in here, we'll see. A lot of beautiful new leaves. And, oh, over here in the middle. I'm almost done. I know, this is a long tour. So I got some rocks. I got no damage on the cactus, but this is what I wanted to show you. I went ahead and put a curry plant here. So this is gonna be just a brutally hot spot. You see the amount of sky up there in front of us. And I needed something that was gonna love the heat during the summer, not need irrigation, but I also wanted something to not get very big, because my plan is to do annual vegetables over there, and I didn't want something to shade out this whole space. I have very few 10 hours of sun kind of spots, so I didn't want it to be necessarily something that just, yeah, too big. So Mariah Canigia, and I'm just gonna bring in more rubble, and then this is gonna get filled more with compost and become a planter for something that can like that filtered light and also needs zero irrigation. So things are rocking around here. The chickens wouldn't let me plant anything, but eventually it'll get something in it, maybe cactuses. And then this is where the annual vegetable beds are gonna go. So, as you can tell, there's a lot of life happening here. It's a beautiful day, and I gotta get back to work. So, hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch y'all later. Peace.